Um, Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Briony Collins. I am a writer, actor, and artist, and one of the co-founders of Cape Magazine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I am also a co-founder of Git Magazine. I am Aaron Farrell. I am a writer, a fighter, and an inspiration igniter. So I've called myself in the past bios. But basically, I like to live life and like to write about living life. Yeah, and I like to do a lot of things in my life. And so Cape was one of them. Cape was a dream to start an arts magazine. And so here we are on Altered Egos to talk to you guys about why and how and what and how we always get asked how two such different writers
Yes.
get together and start a magazine that has a very singular, strong vision. And this is how we'll kind of explain that, man. So yeah.
Yeah. Hence the topic today: why Cape?
Yeah, why Cape?
Why
Just
Cape?
why?
Which we do get asked
A lot. Yeah,
A
man.
lot.
A hell of a lot. Especially now we've opened for like issue 2 and submissions are open for Kill Your Masters. There's definitely people are seeing like the continuation of Cape's style from like Taboo Sins and whatnot, first issue to Kill Your Masters. There's a clear anti-establishment, anti-fucking everything sort of vibe that's coming out, and people are still surprised by that.
That's really how we got started, because we were both in uni together,
Yeah.
doing creative writing, and there was so much angst, I feel like, building up with this frustration between trying to tick boxes for assignments
Yeah.
and trying to also live our own creative
Yeah.
freedoms and journeys. Like,
For sure, dude.
academic standards for writing are so much more different to actual standards in like the publishing industry.
Yeah, and actually like a different set of, it's like same medium but different, delivery entirely, like different delivery system. And I like we both got a first class, so like boom, fucking good for us. But I think we both found it very hard in our way because we are very driven, we are very hardworking, and that's one of the main things that really pulled us together like a magnet. But it was hard at times too to almost be suppressed by writing, because writing has always been freedom for us, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In our histories, we come from like working class backgrounds, and we've had fucking shit hard lives too, as well as everyone else. But that's kind of what we choose to write about and why we write. And that was surprising academically, because some people are almost like, I write because I must write. I write because it's what I've been told to do. And for us, I think it's been much more like, I have to write, dude. I have to get on to it.
It's completely just this unsuppressible urge to do it.
And it's my passion. That's it.
Well, we were writing before we even got to uni.
And we both went to uni as mature students. So that was something, we did go into uni with an understanding of what we want to do and how we want to do it. So
and
that
we were
was
already
friction.
doing it in a sense,
We'd both written our first novels before we got to uni, so that was like, that was something. To write a novel, dude, it isn't easy. Do you know? Like, people are like, "Oh, great, you just write books. Oh, that's so fucking lovely."
So nice.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, you know the existential angst you will feel when you write a sentence and you don't know if it's the truest sentence you've ever written. Do you know?
I mean, Hemingway, man.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's really, sometimes it's such a massive undertaking. You are basically curating lives, fictional lives, but for us it doesn't mean anything
when you're
less.
in that mindset, you're not thinking these are fake people. You're thinking these are my children. Like, I love them. Because it's so peculiar.
I wrote my first draft of my novel whilst travelling. It's about travelling, and so I was writing about the real people I was coming into contact with in hostels, in farm work, whatever. Like, it felt almost like I was just transcribing life, but also allegorizing life, and making a novel out of a life. But we did that before we got to uni, so we both had very strong ideas of like what writing is.
I mean, I was coming into uni having won the Exeter Novel Prize in 2016, and I was 20, I think, when I started.
Dude, so young,
writing that.
so young. So for the record, I'm 29 right now.
20 I'm 24. Why didn't I know that?
Dude, I'm the same.
But yeah, so I was coming into uni having a background in writing, but also not knowing exactly what I was doing at the same time.
Like rules evaded me.
Yeah, and so like the kind of things we were learning in the classroom, we took a class in second year called the novel, and it was basically how to write a novel, but we'd already done
it, yeah.
I'd already won an award for one, and what I really wanted to know at that point in the career was, how does publishing work? How does editing work?
Yes.
And so I think the seeds began to plant themselves in my mind for, I want to own a publication. I want to figure these things out for myself, because I'm just not getting that anywhere else right now. And I don't know how you were feeling it, because we weren't friends at that time.
Well, yeah, we'd been to this a writing society, like first week of fresh. It's like, oh fuck it, I'll go to everything that's with a pen. Anything that says you can use a pen, I'm going. And so we discovered ourselves in each other in writing society, and there was a genuine mutual respect, wasn't there? Because some of the shit you'd come up with and some of the shit I'd come up with would be genuinely like, this fucking person knows what they're talking about, man. Nice, from opposite sides of the classroom or whatever. My coming to uni was, I'm the first person in my family to go to uni. As I said, just grew up very, very, very working class, very fucking pragmatic. Uni just wasn't an option. It was get a job, earn, and that's what I did. That's why I went to uni. I didn't start uni until I was 26. But going there, I wanted the uni experience you see fucking on movies and read on in books. I wanted this creative hub where it's basically like fucking Hogwarts, but for adults. Do you know what I mean? It's just people getting together, people chilling, and I did have that, and we had that, and we discovered that, but I thought that was going to be ingrained in classes, and some of the classes, dude, were so neutered, so plain, and fucking just, I was just like, okay, I believe in knowing the rules, but I only want to know the rules to break them, especially when it comes to creativity, when it comes to expression, dude, and that's all class was about, seemingly, was the rules are not, you can break these or you can do this. There wasn't that much inspiration.
Yeah, it wasn't nurturing those skills and ambitions that were kind of innate in
us.
Yeah.
We had the innate I want to fucking write.
Exactly.
But,
and really being in classrooms like that, it was like having this urge, I have to write right now. And people around us going, well, hold on a minute.
But you need to know what the Oxford comma is. I'm like, bitch, I'll put a fucking comma anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we do not agree on the Oxford comma.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I love commas.
Yeah. Oh no, I love it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So some of our lecturers kind of saw dude, these guys have got energy and passion, and they can't get enough, and we really couldn't. And even though I didn't get on with some of my lecturers, and I feel like my work was very much pitted against them, they could see that we were both just driven, and we knew what we wanted, from day one. Yeah. And I had a lot of arguments with lecturers and stuff about this, but I knew what I wanted out of uni, and because it wasn't that, sometimes I could get very frustrated. But we learned experimental writing as a module, which you think is going to be awesome, and then I asked on the first day, when do we get our LSD tabs for experimental writing, and we didn't. Do you know? And so I was a little bit
for $9,000 a year.
For $9,000 a year, dude, chuck in a tab and give me some experimental writing that isn't just, this is the history of Ulipo and this is the history. I want more, and I get that academia is that. But coming back to just Cape as what it is, one of the reasons behind it is that it's not a literary magazine.
No.
Because that term can kind of rub us the wrong way, can it?
Yeah, I think we've both experienced a lot of gatekeeping within the writing community, I guess. Particularly, coming from working class backgrounds, we're so used to being boxed out of situations. And when you're doing something like poetry, writing novels, it's something that's so expressive and so honest. You have to write honestly if you want to write well.
And sometimes the only way you can write well is to be honest when you don't have the skill set. When coming from our backgrounds in a sense, I didn't have any real life heroes that even partook in art, in any sort of art. I knew no musicians as a kid, no painters, no writers, you know, and I felt so like, am I supposed to be feeling like this? Do you know? Is this okay to just feel like I want to create and that's all I want to do? Like, I'd call myself an idea man as a kid, and I didn't realise that's basically a fucking writer. Do you know? I was like, I can come up with ideas. Like, do you know?
Well, there's this kind of misconception, I feel like, with writing being an entirely solitary endeavour, something where you have to be like isolated and a hermit to write. When actually having supportive people around you, people who understand how you work and help nurture that part of you, is one of the best things you can have as a writer. And that's something, for all, you know, the stuff we've said about being dissatisfied with our classrooms, we actually became friends and started Cape through a lecturer. Through Diane.
Exactly, through Diane, man. What a babe of a woman, dude. She's just awesome. She was our creative non-fiction lecturer, and like kind of saw both of our like energy and kind of put us together, and still, even in class, before me and Briony really got friends, it was still like a mutual respect. Like, I knew I could read Briony's work on like the blog or something, whatever was going on in class that week, and just be like, this person writes. Do you know what I mean? It's not just one thing, and you can see that sometimes. You know, what academia does do is give you a lot of people's work to look at, a lot of peers almost, you know, it comes across the board, and you can realise like, oh, you can do maybe this, but you know, you maybe will struggle with that. But some of it is out of that confidence. Like, you're not willing to try to nail that dialogue, nail that, you know, nail the underlying themes or whatever. But I think having both written a novel, we had to think about that, and therefore we kind of immediately slingshot together after Diane sent an email being like, oh no, I've heard some of you guys talk about wanting to start a magazine or whatever. I had a little bit of experience because like me and a few other guys started a Farrell magazine in 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. And I only had one issue. Like, it was, you know, it was a print magazine, which was cool, but we had one issue because it just kind of, the whole editorial process fell apart. So that gave me, a bit of mouth. That gave me just like 5 editors is too much to come together over one magazine, and I felt like I learned a lot from Rao. But we were both quite apprehensive initially, weren't we? When it came to like sitting down, having a coffee, and going like, dude, who the fuck are you? Do you know?
Because I knew of you obviously, and I respected you as a writer, but I'd never spoken to you at all, really.
Yeah, it was literally like, hi.
Yeah, you know? And so I think we messaged on Twitter after that email or something, and we agreed to meet for a coffee to talk about ourselves and see if, you know, our dynamic was right to go into a magazine. And honestly, like, the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is it, this is right.
Yeah. It was honestly what I'd written about in the Lost and Found, is like these connections that you just have over a coffee in a hostel kitchen, wherever you may be. And we were sipping this coffee being like, it's fucking cool, man. We're getting on. We're gonna do this, and we were snowballing so many ideas from the first point, and I think that's where I knew. For me, I was just like, dude, this Briony is really passionate, like innately passionate, and that's something people do not get about me, is how just fucking passionate I can be about something. People just like a bit weirded out, but Briony had it as well, and we were both just really, really like, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this.
It was honestly, it was a year before the first issue came out that we first met for that coffee, because it was the summer before. So everything we talked about, you know, it was building up for a really, really long time. We didn't open for submissions until I think 6 months of planning. Later, you know. And we had, you know, a timeline and everything, and we were still, you know, spitballing. And
we were like literally doing our dissertations this time.
Yeah.
You know, we are busy in ourselves. Like, this is something we wanted to talk about, is that because of how different we are, people think like, oh, you know, the different our styles are, people think we must work really differently, but that's something we found, is that we work very similarly. Like, in how we'll sit on, you know, the computer, the typewriter, whatever, and just be lost, dude. Like, there's something we both get, isn't it? Like, oh, I'm actually pretty hungry and I eat shit now, but it's been 6 hours since I fucking started writing.
Right, but you don't even notice.
Yeah, you have no clue, and that's like
Yeah.
I don't think something like that isn't taught.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, it's to work like that. You really have to be keeping yourself in check and really feel like that is how you need to
or
work.
not in check and just having a fucking mental breakdown. Do you know?
Well, we've had a few of those.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
But I think we do get a lot of comments on how different our work is. Aaron is much more, I would say, experimental, and I'm a little more traditional. Not like.
Yeah.
Foreign poetry, still contemporary poetry, but
for sure.
a bit different.
You know, basically, you know what you're doing, and I don't.
Well,
in poetry, like in poetry classes in uni. So I got into uni after GCSEs. I did nothing. I just worked as a youth worker. That was like my career, my actual career. And then after traveling, I was like, oh, cool, man. I need to go to uni. If I ever want to live in another country, which I do, I'm literally moving tomorrow, going to Canada soon. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, this is the last time I'm actually seeing
This becomes transatlantic soon, guys. The Cape actually becomes like boom across the.
We're going
the proverbial pond.
Yeah.
But what was I saying, dude?
I don't know.
I'm still a bit late, dude. Because I said I'm going away tomorrow. I had my leaving party last night, so I'm still feeling it. Well, yeah, right. But I still can't remember what I was going at now.
See, okay, this is why you need like a good dynamic and a good team. You keep each other in check.
We really do. Like we read, this is a great thing, we talked about our novels a lot. We read each other's novels way before anyone else read our novels. Like Briony read my novel last summer and I published it this summer, you know? So that was something, and that Kate was undergoing then, but we were still kind of in awe of each other, being like, you wrote a novel, man, and I loved it.
Yeah,
do you know? Like, immediately, earnestly loved it.
Yeah.
And, like, that's something...
We literally say we're each other's, like, #1 fans.
For sure.
That's what it is.
Don't be afraid to be someone's fan, man. Never feel bad about feeling good. And if you feel good about something, tell them. That's very important to me, is that people know how I feel, whether it is frustration or pure love or anything. It's really important. We tell each other a lot because we genuinely do, you know. I admire what Briony can do because some of what Briony can do I cannot do. Like I can't get there, being more experimental, but that's kind of stems from just not knowing the rules. Like I had to write like a writing portfolio to get into uni to prove to them, and lucky enough I'd be doing film reviews and poetry that I'd be get called gay from friends from a working class environment, like that kind of.
But we don't use that word anymore. We now say things are straight.
Yeah, exactly. But I wrote a poem about, the poem was titled You Are You Are You, and I was like 21, dude. I put it on Facebook, and then people were like, "Oh, Aaron, you fucking gay, writing poetry." Like that was my environment I was in. So coming to uni was like, oh, like people actually call themselves writers, dude. Yeah. It's not just seen as like a, like the Batman gif of Robin saying something just gets slapped. It was like, oh, look at my poem, and I was just like, whack. Do you know?
Yeah, if you write a good poem in this environment, people want to hang out with you.
Yeah,
it's just so like foreign to me.
So foreign, man. That's something that uni gave me, was the friends who are the poets, the writers, or whatever, and sometimes the space to just be like, of course I want to hear my friends read their fucking poems, you know?
Going back to what we were just saying about, if you love something that someone's written or someone's done, tell them. I think that's so inherent to our backgrounds, being working class writers. It is. If you love something or you want to do something when you're from a disadvantaged background, you don't always get that opportunity. So when you do, you talk about it, you go for it, you make a big deal out of it. And I think that's something we've kind of carried through into every aspect of our lives. It is, and every aspect of our writing, in fact. Yeah. And actually, Cape, like something that this can get onto like the thematics of Cape in a sense, but like something we're aware of is that. So we, as we've said several times, and we're both working class, but we're also very aware that we're both white. You know, and I literally look like fucking Superman. I've had a hard life, but we understand that we haven't had hard lives, in comparison to a lot of just peoples on this earth. And I think that's something we have a genuine, earnest appreciation for humanity. And as much as I want to fucking sword off shotgun some of humanity sometimes, I also want to lift it up to the stars too. And I think we both have that like genuine romanticism for what writing can do, and Cape is our way of going, we like your words, do you know? Yes. And voice is important to us, but we're still aware that our voice
can be more heard than other people's voices, and that's something always to be aware of. I think just because we are very much about being humane, because we are just humans.
Sure. Yeah. Ultimately, when we started with Cape, we kind of had this idea of every issue would tackle a theme that we felt was pressing and urgent in that time that it was coming out in. The first issue we centered around sins, stigmas and taboos, and we called it Teeth and Feathers, and we set that theme long before we knew any of the shit that was going to go down this year. It was a good few months before the pandemic, before the protests over the summer, and so the response we got was really it just made me feel really quite emotional.
Yeah, same. We were going through sometimes just like, wow, I can't believe people said that to us, to trust in us with it.
Exactly.
And we do not take that lightly. No. I don't think you can, because creativity in any medium is self-expression ultimately before it's anything else, dude. People like Vonnegut and whatnot, like it's about they wanted to express themselves but also pass on pathos and pass on whatever whatever else, whatever amazing else things, but to express yourself is a risk, is a gamble. And Kate, we wanted the themes to represent those people who are going to gamble with talking about what they need to talk about, write about what they want to write about, whatever. They're not being a kind of lingua franca to Cape. You can do what the fuck you want to do, and we set these themes to think about that. And so should we say a little bit about how Killing Masters came about?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good
Or do you want to finish up on like taboos and sins first?
Well, ultimately, I think...
Which is out, by the way.
It is out.
Get it.
When did it come out? Or,
July-ish.
End of July?
End of July, then. So that was issue 1.
Yeah, issue 1. I think, just ending on talking about issue 1, I want to mention that our sort of bottom line at Cape was, if it's good, it goes in. And that was kind of the end of it.
Right.
And, we didn't have any trouble really agreeing on pieces or negotiating pieces.
We have a good system, man. We have a good system.
Yeah, very organised.
Very organised, thanks to you. Briony's definitely the organised one. I have ADHD and autism, and I'm not very organised. Briony organises lots of shit.
He is the idea generator.
I just like to talk shit, dude. Just
give
me something to write and I'll write it.
That's how we work.
Yeah, it's very good.
But the actual, I feel like, spirit of Teeth and Feathers kind of embodied that, because we were putting pieces side by side that I don't feel like any other publication will put side by side.
Exactly,
totally, like experimental prose and a very traditional poem and an oil painting. Just completely different things that should juxtapose each other
but complement each other too.
Absolutely, and they create a conversation page to page because they are tied together through this sort of common thread of the theme. And so for issue 2, which I'll segue into now, we really wanted to go even further and not beat about the bush in any sense of the word, and make that common theme as visceral and emotive as possible.
Right, and as immediate as possible. That's what we found with sins, taboos and stigmas was almost like a little too ambiguous, because some of the stuff, so this can actually help, some of the stuff we did get was like just very obvious with taboo, sins and stigmas and stuff. And so we, just as we are who we are and what we want, we don't necessarily just want the most obvious. There was clearly a lot of like, and this is weird, I just read Dante's Inferno, just the Inferno part over lockdown, because like, if you ever get a time to read fucking Dante's Inferno, it's probably lockdown when the world is shit its pants. You're like, okay, I'll read Inferno now, And so reading that, you could kind of see a lot of the uni or perhaps A-level educational push on some of it.
I will rephrase that, because I think we love getting work from students, and
for sure,
especially young people. Exactly.
Yeah, we are them.
And it's so, we published quite a few students.
We did, which was real good. Like the diversity of who we published is cool.
Yes,
it's nice.
And some of our youngest contributors, I think, wrote some of the
Yeah,
incredible pieces. But when we say that there's this kind of uni A-level push, we mean
there's a curriculum.
Yes,
you can see the curriculum through the writing.
exactly. And what we talked about in the beginning, where when we were getting into education and writing in academic settings, we were very much pushed to check certain boxes, do certain things. And so some of the submissions we received, we noticed a sort of similarity between what we had been instructed to do initially and presumably with what they are being instructed to do now. And CAPE ultimately is about following your voice, your instincts.
Yes.
And so if you're writing something and you're checking boxes and you're following rules, it could very well be excellent, but if it is not representative of you and who you are, something needs to be changed.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, you can kind of, you know, you can almost cherry pick your education and how you want to write and stuff, but some, you know, well, a lot of the time I can't not be honest, you know, really just honest, and so my writing is very candid, but because I choose to do that, you know, because I'm not informed by everything I've ever learnt or been inspired by, because I am such a sponge for I'm a pop culture just dweeb, you know. I just know shit that I shouldn't really know.
That's true.
But it's out of, it is true. Yeah, but it's out of it's like out of a love. But then I don't want to not show that, you know, like, you know, some people who emboldened me in that way were Vonnegut and Pynchon, you know, because they could write about the zeitgeist, because you can't write outside of a zeitgeist. You can allegorize the zeitgeist, you know, but you're always going to be somewhat affected by that zeitgeist looming over you at that time, no matter whether you're writing, you know, high fantasy or
you know,
sci-fi.
Ultimately, that's something we want to bring to the forefront. Be aware of what you're writing and why you're writing it.
Yeah, dude. Can we just go sidebar for a sec? If you never know what to write, dude, go on Reddit and Quora and just look at some of the fucking questions people ask the world and get answers to, and you're just like, how does anyone ever not know what to write when the world is just coming up with just the dumbest but most hilarious shit ever, do you know? So just check out the internet, dude. That's enough inspiration. That's all you need anyway.
There is no shortage.
It should come from inside.
Of inspiration.
Yeah, dude. So I can't remember my point on that, but yeah, just look on the internet and just read some funny stuff. Even comment sections, you're like, there's so much life and humanity in these comment sections, you know?
Which is not always a good thing.
Not always a good thing, man.
No.
Not always a good thing.
By no means. But, you know, speaking of people kind of showing that they're following a set of rules, following a certain standard, when we really, really want them to just express themselves, that is ultimately the goal of our second issue, Kill Your Masters.
Yes, dude. Yeah, so Kill Your Masters, straight off the bat, that's not like our idea. Kill Your Masters is the catchphrase of the band Run the Jewels, featuring Killer Mike and LP.
Which we completely plagiarised.
Yeah, right. But I feel like there's so many pop culture references and stuff that I just I go mad shit for in their songs and their lyrics, because they aren't not affected by the zeitgeist or the cultures or, you know, just the population of the political landscape.
And they know they are.
They know they are. Yeah, and that's what I've tried to do. That's what something, you know, I'm not going to pretend that I don't know what a zombie is. If there's fucking zombies attacking my town, I'm going to know what zombies are and know how to kill them. Do you know what I mean? Be aware, dude. And so Kill Your Masters comes precisely from their catchphrase. Like, I haven't got one yet, but when I move to Canada, I'm probably going to get one. You can get a t-shirt with just Kill Your Masters from like the RTJ site, from Run the Jewel site. But they are a rap duo. Killer Mike is black from Atlanta. LP is white. Jamie is white. He's from Brooklyn. And they've come together and formed this super rap duo, which just, you know, their album Run the Jewels 4, I reviewed for V13 and just think it's possibly the most on the temperature of society's, you know, gauge right now, including risen temperatures for COVID. They're so on it, and Kill Your Masters is a theme that comes up even bigger than their past albums in this newest one. You know, when you have their song Just with the $, and you have Farrell screaming, look at all those slave masters posing on your dollar, do you know? And the video to that, dude. Have you watched the video to that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, just beautiful montage of just fucking on the point talking points, you know? But the whole album's like that. Yeah. And actually, very, very fittingly with the Black Lives Matter movement this summer, that's taken a pandemic to show racial epidemics just around the world. It's taken that, and Killer Mike had to come out in Atlanta, in his hometown, and just say, like, I don't want to fucking be here, but I need to be here because I need to tell you, we need to organise, mobilise, strategise. That was his sort of speech. And I just think there's nothing more important right now than realising that we are controlled. There's so much reality I don't choose to subscribe to right now because of main reason, my mental health, because I really struggle just to accept that I'm such an inconsequential cog in the machine. I'd rather be an inconsequential formation of atoms in the universe that is, down the beach last night, like I said, I'm leaving to, all of us were laying there with the fire there, looking up at the stars, just being like, this is the best entertainment we ever made, with stories around the campfire and constellations and Milky Ways, and we've created so many masters, and masters have created themselves since, that's just something that I love, is that, cavemen probably smoked joints around campfires, and now we're still doing it, millennia later. But you feel that connection. I just don't think you can look at a fire and not be entertained. Yeah. But we've used fire. We've gone, cheers Prometheus, and just ran with it to such a dangerous degree that now we need to kill our masters now. Like we talked about gatekeeping earlier. That's what Cape's trying to do. We're trying to kill the masters of the publishing industry. I know that might sound quite haughty and quite like, we're going to do this, quite naive and idealistic, but
it to the man.
We need to stick it to the man, because there's a lot of men, and I'm aware of that as a white man, we're very aware of our place in society, but also what we think society needs. And so Kill Your Masters, I hope, we've had like a little sneak peek of some of this shit coming in already, like, just so...
It's good.
It's good already. It's real good, because people are going, what is my master? What do I need to kill? And it doesn't have to be so literal, Run the Jewels, one of the things that Run the Jewels I believe in violent expression. I have my own column called Violent Expression, but Run the Jewels believe in that. Whoever needs to be called out, dude, is called out. Whoever needs to be spoken about is spoken about. There is no holding back. And I believe that is how we change this world. That's why my writing's like that. And yours is too. Yours is so honest, even though you can wrap her up in a gorgeous metaphor or something, or a gorgeous image, poetic image. I think we both want the same things. We want words we want the words to work, do you know?
Yeah, and ultimately that's what we're trying to do with Kill Your Masters. It's figuring out what you as a human being stand for.
Yeah, and stand against.
And stand against, and not backing down. And so, I think we do run the risk of it being very literal. We had that certainly with the first issue.
For sure.
But what we're really looking for are pieces that take authenticity to the extreme. Who are you and why are you? And don't deny yourself your own identity. I think we've seen that so much.
We've done that, dude.
Yeah.
We've both struggled over the last 2 years with being in uni, like we've talked about, just trying to actually accept, like, no, I am that one. I'm not this uni version or this work version or whatever version. We are these writers we've always hoped to be, and this is why we feel emboldened enough to do this and run Cape, is because we are that. But so much, one of the things we love about Voice is that we took a long time to find ours.
A long time. It was even just this apprehension in me to call myself a writer.
I know, dude.
I didn't feel like I'd earned it. It didn't matter that I'd written books and I'd done readings and things. I didn't feel like I was worthy of being.
I still struggle a little bit, man. And
we talk about this quite a lot.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. This is basically a counselling session now, so you can turn off. Do you know?
See ya.
Yeah, man. Voice is very important to actually understand why you are, dude. Because there's so many decisions we make in our lives. Like the video games you see, like, oh, I made decision 22B wrong, and now I fucking killed everyone. Damn it! Life is kind of like that, dude. Yeah. But obviously you might not have those stakes, but sometimes, especially with something as integral as the voice of a writer, you realise that everyone has a voice, man, and we you want to try and pull that out of them, and that's been a big part of us in like with our families, like being working class, being writers. I know obviously it doesn't immediately go together, and that is changing. Thankfully, that is changing, but it's changing by people actually talking about those things, and writing those things.
And it goes full circle with what we were speaking about before, with reaching a certain point in our lives where we needed these innate skill sets and innate desires to be nurtured by the people around us. And that's something we feel through CAPE we can provide to other people.
Dude. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that honestly just blows my mind.
And
there's no other way to say it.
We are very, very humble and privileged to do what we do. And I know we've done it. We've created that. But we've created that over place. But I just wanted to hear other people.
Well, we've created the space, but everybody else, all the writers,
has created the magazine.
Yeah, and you're the ones who have filled the space, and so
And that does honestly feel like an honour.
Yes.
It does feel like an honour, and I bet people like uni lecturers must be like, the 100th fucking story about whatever. Do you know what I mean? But for us, because it is so new and fresh, and because we want the uniqueness, the voice, like in issue 1, we heard from some people who I might have never heard of before, in their social strata, and we heard of some of those people and showcased some of those people, and I think
even people we know, people we've been to with, sent us work, and can we say names?
I think so.
I will say James Tanner.
Yeah, dude, his oil work, I had no idea that dude can paint, and he's like fucking Van Gogh,
We were at uni with James Tanner for a whole course, and I think he's doing a master's, so I'll be back in uni with him. And I had no idea he could paint at all until he sent us 3 beautiful oil paintings for Teeth and Feathers.
Yeah, dude.
And I just couldn't.
We couldn't believe it, could we? It was such a surprise, and like so many people have that inside them.
Yeah.
But almost just need. This is what I feel like with CAPE sometimes, is I'm not just like handing the cape and putting it on someone's neck, I'm kind of giving them a mic too, and it feels like, oh wow,
they've already got their own cape.
Exactly, but sometimes just to say like, oh, that's a nice cape, dude,
Exactly.
And that's kind of where, as fed up as I am of like the superhero world, and I say that as a lifelong geek, dude, a lifelong comic book collector, figure collector, like, I read comics. Comics were the first things I read. I read comics before I read books. I love superheroes, but I am fed up of our culture now of like everything must be, superhero. Everything is a franchise. Everything is linked to this and linked to this.
Yeah.
You can tell a story on its own, dude. You don't have to plan 50 movies.
Part of writing a good story is knowing when to
fucking
stop.
ending it. Yeah. So you can do that, man. But we couldn't resist the superhero connection, because
like we say, own your own voice. The point of CAPE is be your own hero.
Be your own hero, man, because sometimes you don't have any others, and that is the brutal truth. It would be nice to look up to a building and to see some black suited fascist beating the fuck out of idiots. But you can't see that sometimes, dude.
No.
So you've got to just, you've got to speak it yourself.
Yeah, kill your masters, kill your Lex Luthers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, kill your bats. Do you know what I mean? Batman? I mean, it's still kind of weird, when you think of it. Like just afraid of bats, dude, and he's just pulverizing people. Like, I've been playing Batman Arkham Knight again this week, because I've just been like, I'm moving house, but I also need to de-stress. So de-stress right now. I can't do kickboxing, kung fu. I'm struggling to skate because I hurt my toe, so I'm just gonna be Batman. I'm just gonna ride around the Batmobile,
There are
and
worse
that's
things
enough.
to do.
That's enough sometimes,
Yeah.
Being your own hero is such a hard thing to do. I've again not just being a white man and being privileged enough to just be a white man, even though I'm working class, but I've got to see myself in Spider-Man, in Peter Parker, in Superman, Clark Kent. I actually got to see, I was like, I look like these people, and I get to go through their crises, and that's what was something that was so wonderful. I suppose sticking with the superhero world, even though there's a lot right now we disagree with. We've talked about it again. There's a lot, dude. I'm sick of cancel culture and toxic fandom. That's a thing. Needs to fucking stop, dude.
That's
Toxic
another podcast
fandom
episode.
needs to stop, man. People should like what they want to like, dude. You shouldn't just shit on someone for just liking something, okay? There is bad art, don't get me wrong, it's some dog shit stuff, but like what you like, man. But anyway, what was I saying?
you can see yourself in like.
Yeah, I've been able to see
Maybe
myself, and that's what I
yeah.
want Cape to do, dude. Is I
Yes.
want people to be able to read Cape and actually go, oh wow, you know, that's me. Where, you know, whatever ethnicity or sex or gender, whatever they want to identify as, is so important to see yourself, man. When Wonder Woman came out, at the time my niece was like 5, I got my Wonder Woman top on, and we were playing around, we were fighting and stuff, and she saw herself in Wonder Woman. My mum saw herself in Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. My mum watches like 3 films a year. When she came up to stay with me last, the Blu-ray of Wonder Woman she bought me for Christmas and forgot about it. I was like, man, let's watch Wonder Woman. And she was like, dude, I want to be an Amazonian. You know?
Yeah.
Of course. You need to see
Well,
that.
it was like that when Black Panther came out, you know.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness, I know, dude.
I don't especially enjoy superhero movies. I
Right.
didn't especially enjoy it, but it was so vital that it came out.
So transcendental through the culture and through the zeitgeist.
Because so many young black children can look up to the film the way we looked up to Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, whatever, and say, that's me. I want to be him, you know.
And this is the gatekeeping we need to fucking smash down, which, you know, is that kind of gatekeeping. It's like, one of the reasons I love to travel, like adore to travel, it's not just to get the fuck away and have some nice waves and water and stuff. It's to meet people that are different, you know, because all of us are different, but, you know, we kind of hide behind patriotism or nationalism or whatever to try and not feel different, to try and feel the same when everyone else is different. You know, we have the other syndrome is terrible, but that's another story. But to just feel like, to learn about peoples and places and cultures and stuff that you just didn't know is magic, like is learning, is spiritual learning, you know, not just mental learning. And that's so important to see yourself. And so if I've had Spider-Man and Superman, dude, every other kid in the universe who has an imagination deserves their own.
Absolutely.
Do you know, you need to have your own. And I feel like we can do that with Kate.
And part of it is, you know, having your own people to look up to, but also being your own person to look up to, admiring yourself.
Which is so hard.
And that is what we're doing with Kill Your Masters.
And trying to do.
Well, trying to do.
Yeah.
Is, you know, you can look up to yourself. You can be your own hero. You can defeat your own supervillains.
Which maybe a podcast is good to actually have this to say, because it's immortalised right now, which has been something I've been nervous about with a podcast, because whatever you say is just staying on the internet
yes,
forever.
I'm a little terrified.
Yeah, right. But, you know, we sort of both have mental health struggles, but to talk about them, you know, actually makes them real and makes you accept them a bit more. Like I wrote a Valid Expression article about my mental health, and it was you know, very candid, very open, which is meant to be. But it was so open that people got in touch with me to actually say, people I hadn't spoken to 6 months, a year, actually got in touch and say, like, wow, man, what you wrote about your mental health and your candor, you know, helped me realize I did that, I didn't do this, whatever. But I think we're saying, like, you need to be your own hero, but I think that's a lifelong battle too, you know?
Yeah, it's not that easy. We're not saying it's easy.
Yeah, we still have existential crises, you know. I for many other things, because we both have very busy lives as is, we both have a million different projects and work and all of this kind of stuff going on.
Some of us moved to Canada.
Some of us moved to Canada, which is stress as fuck during COVID. But, you know, there's a lot going on, and sometimes it's so easy to doubt yourself. And I think we had a few good email correspondences with some of the people who submitted to the issue, and you know, we talked to some people, and that's what we could see too, is that just us being editors was enough to give some people the you know, the push to go, like, oh, I do believe my words enough for it to be picked, because we picked some pieces that were from first time writers, you know. We have some people who are like laureates in there, but we have some first time writers who have really gone, like, I'm going to pull up my sort of trousers and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to the world.
A couple of them, I think, were first ever submissions.
Exactly. Imagine getting that, dude. We've had so many fucking rejections over our years. So many rejections, dude. That's why it's hard to see yourself as the hero sometimes. You're like, oh, well, no one likes me.
I don't even think about it anymore. As soon as I send something off, I'm like,
that's a rejection.
When I'll even talk about it. Like, well, I'm just waiting for this to be rejected so that I can do this.
Then I can do this with it. Yeah. But then you've got, you know, we're both self-publishing right now, and that's another way of. That could be another episode, I think, entirely just about our journey to self-publishing and the stigma taboo around self-publishing.
Because initially I did not like it at all, or the idea of it, and I've come around to it. So yeah, that's something
Yeah,
we can
dude,
talk
I
about
was
in the
literally
future.
telling people down the beach last night, like, oh, you know, fucking Jeff Bezos, dude, what a bastard, and what an Amazon pay people, right? You know, what are your warehouses, all this, it's like Mad Max. And I was like, you can buy my book on Amazon, Kindle and paperback, do you know?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you kind of have to lean into these fucking capitalist ventures sometimes, you know, to get your art out. But one of the things that really emboldened me about self-publishing, I self-published my poetry collection at the beginning of summer and a novel at the end. And one of the things was I read that one of my favourite writers, dude, Margaret Atwood, self-published her poetry collection, like put it all together herself in like the 60s and then became Margaret Atwood. So I was like, dude, of course I'm going to self-publish.
She was always Margaret Atwood.
She's always, that's it. that is it, dude.
And whether you self-publish or whether you have a traditional publisher, you are always just who you are. Exactly,
and that's something that I really struggle with sometimes, is to just go, yeah, man, you're a good writer, you know, yeah, man, like I said it in the mental health thing, and I've gone back and that's so much in that, I was like, you are able to say you're a good writer, you know, with worth in your voice and all this kind of stuff, and so many times I'd be like, I can't believe I wrote that, dude, it's out the world, people think I'm okay, but I'm not fucking okay, I'm not okay, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Even just, tweeting out something, it can be really, really frightening because you never know how people are going to respond, and a piece of work is never done until it's in the hands of a reader. That
is so true, man. We've talked about death of the author a lot, you know, in like thematics and stuff, but it's so true. Like once I passed my novel on to Briony and my fiance, it became a real novel, and I was saying to them, like, is it a real novel? You know, is it what's going on?
Did I do it?
Yeah, did I do a novel, dude? But it is, because you've passed it on to them and they're reading it like you had any other novel, you know?
Exactly. And that's, you know, what it felt like to read it, and I think that's, you know, a testament to why you're a great writer, why you're a good person to work with.
Oh, shucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you. I do. But you have to have that gumption and that belief in your own voice, wear your own cape, dude.
Absolutely.
You know, be your own superhero.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with this podcast with Altered Egos.
Yes.
You know, cape is a space for other people to have their own voices, and this is a place where we can share ours quite literally.
Quite literally, man. Yeah, yo.
So, can you understand a word he said?
Yeah, dude, I sound like a male orchestra all of the time. So yeah, we may have to put like Don Vito subtitles on this.
Oh
like,
yeah, of course. Speaks in Swansea.
But yeah, speaks in Swansea. Yeah, but Altered Egos was a place to kind of be like, we've got, like we said, we've got a lot of rejections, and sometimes you just want to fucking know why.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard thing to offer. We, you know, how many submissions do we have for issue 1 about?
I think we had 68 people send us work, and we had 122 pieces of work total.
So it's quite a lot, man, for a first issue, do you know?
A lot.
And
more than we were expecting. We were expecting like 30
dude,
pieces.
Way more, yeah. And it is hard. It's going to be hard to give everyone feedback, and it's not something we can offer just because we're so busy in our own lives. Like, you know, everyone is, dude. Everyone is.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, you have to take it back. But we thought with this, it could just be addressing a lot more people collectively, because to start Cape Magazine, we've had to go, like we've talked about these meetings and stuff, but we had to go, we are able enough to do this, you know, we believe in ourselves enough to do this. One of my favourite things to do for other people is to edit their work. We are editors as well as writers, I think, quite naturally.
Absolutely.
Like, we literally edited each other's novels and poetry collections, and like, we really are entwined in that, because it's such an integral part, dude. You can't just write. It's not writing. Writing is writing and editing.
If anything, I would say that editing is more important. And I always say this when, you know, a lot of people always ask, how do you learn to write? How do you be a writer? And I think the answer really is, you know, if you're Googling like how to be a writer, stop, dude.
Stop. You're not a writer.
Figure out how to be an editor. How to spot things you like and don't like. How to find things that work and find things that flop.
And you can only do that through fucking reading, okay?
Yes.
If you don't read, you cannot be a writer. Don't ask me how to fucking cure writer's block if you don't read.
I think Stephen King said that.
Yeah, dude. It's just, you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And learn to edit and the writing, I think, will be a natural product of those things. And I do
we
think
love a
there's-
lot of different writers, don't we? Very broad
Yes.
genres and stuff, and that's why we are the way we are too, man. It's
Mhm.
because you can't not read broad. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to? Do you
Yeah.
know? I was in Asda yesterday queuing for cigarettes, dude, and like the queue was back with the 2 meter distance, and I was in like the book shelf,
Uh-huh.
and I was just like, how is
They
some
all
of this
look
stuff?
the
They all look
same.
exactly the same, dude. You can get 2 for £8 or 1 for £4.50. I'm like, I can't choose 2. I got the Testaments because I already got an audiobook, but I was like, I want to read it, dude. I really want to read it. Back to Atwood.
Yeah.
Atwood, we love you.
Atwood.
Like, so I bought that yesterday, but I could not pick. I love a deal, dude. I love a deal.
Love
and I was
a
like, I
bargain.
could not pick a second book because I was like, they all kind of look like they're a bit shit. And that's okay to say, dude. It's not to say that you should be this toxic fandom just finding people to troll, but it's okay to have tastes, and I certainly have tastes in writing, man. And a lot of my tastes, and I think both of our tastes are more contemporary, but more the last 50 years contemporary.
Yes,
We don't
yeah.
necessarily have, maybe we have a little bit of reverence, but we're not utterly entwined in periods as such as we are the last century, where some of our heroes like Jim Morrison.
Yes.
Okay, this is like an ill insight, which is funny.
Okay.
You know in Booksmart they had Malala, dude. So if
Oh,
you need
God,
to do
yeah.
something like, if the best friend has to just do it, has to just agree, okay, they get a Malala, do you know?
Well,
God bless Malala.
I think should we? Yeah.
Nah,
so-
man, you can search Malala. We can't go in. We can't do footnotes.
Okay.
You'll know what Malala is if you don't just search, and you'll be like, wow.
Kate
you know?
doesn't spoon feed.
Yeah, we can't, man. Who's got the time? But our Malala is Morrison.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if we're having a complete disagreement at a standstill, if one of us says Morrison, the other person just has to go along
We
with
get
it.
one an issue. One
per
an issue,
each,
dude.
One per issue.
And 122 pieces, as Briony said, like that's a lot
Yeah,
to
yeah.
save your Morrison.
And
you know?
genuinely, I didn't feel really
Yeah.
like I had to use mine.
Yeah,
I,
fair.
we
Did
had-
I?
You did. You put a piece in that I
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
but you know, it's having these kind of pop culture references ingrained in us has helped us to negotiate and figure out how to work through Cape in a way.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
if there's
Cape
that
is-
respect, dude, it's there, do you know?
Yes.
Because there's such a reverence and respect for one another as writers, but as friends
Yes.
too. Because Kate has given us that as well. It's given us a friendship for sure, isn't it? Dude? It's
100%.
given us like such a great
Yeah.
friendship. Like, you know, we're there for one another, and it honestly doesn't like. This is something that would be massive tectonic, almost to be like, oh fuck, you're moving to Canada, dude.
Yeah.
But we're moving to Canada, but that is just not going to affect Kate because I know we can use technology to our
Yeah,
benefit.
yeah.
you
And
know?
obviously I'm sad, but I'm
for
not
sure.
freaking out.
Yeah, I'm not
Because
like,
it's
oh, what's
like-
going to happen to Kate? Not like with Row. I was just
Yeah,
like,
well,
oh,
I meant about you and our
Right.
friendship, but
Okay,
also
fair,
like
fair,
Kate.
fair.
But you know, I'm not, you know, having a freak out.
It's
about
going to
it
be so
because it's
natural
like,
to just
this is
give us a
fine.
video calls, you know.
Yeah,
like,
because-
and that's what we're going to have to do. The next podcast,
Yeah.
we're going to be
Although
like.
we're
stuck
kind
on
of
the
used to that after lockdown and
Yeah,
everything,
fair,
doing
fair.
video
So
calls.
as the world is, isn't it? So
Yeah,
we actually aren't in the same room right now. We're just going to like touch and just a line
it's an
here.
illusion.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an illusion.
No, none can do yet. But yeah, I think what else do we have to say? We try to keep it loose. We wanted this to just be conversational because life is conversation, dude, and that's how we learn. And so you get to
And yeah,
speak
we're
to
not
people.
great with structure and deadlines and bullet points.
Nah, but basically, I think the general kind of format we're going to look for with Altered Egos, the podcast, is that we kind of accumulate all the questions we keep getting asked by a lot of people through social media, through personal, through family, like, and one of the predominant questions is why and how Cape, and that's what we thought we'd answer today.
Yeah, my family asked me that a lot. Why?
Yeah.
After they
Yeah.
read our intro.
Yeah, welcome to hell, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
And
my grandparents
we had a nice
were
feedback
not,
of that.
They were not happy.
Yeah. But I thought, like, we also, like, I was like, Briony, tell him it's me. Tell him it's me, dude.
No,
I've got
I
you.
would not throw you under the bus like
No, but
that.
I'm the bus driver there, so do it. Do you know? Just do it. Lean in.
No, I took the blame 50-50 for that.
Yeah.
But I got to hear my granddad say motherfucker, so
Boom. Yeah,
it's
man.
harrowing actually.
So yeah, you can bring that. We've kind of brought that into the world. Cape Magazine is in the world now, and that's kind of all you have to do. And that's something we've both loved over lockdown, is seeing how many people are realizing their appreciation of art, because we all have it, dude. Who doesn't watch movies and TV and whatever? Do you know?
3 hours of YouTube every day.
Oh yeah, we looked at our YouTube watch time last. I love YouTube for skating, for like Kung Fu UFC, for meditation, for yoga, and for audiobooks.
But okay, you're watching
And
it
I
for
pay for
3 hours
premium.
a day for like a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
I'm watching it for 3 hours a day for
For
just
what?
gaming content.
Yeah, but I'll just rather game, dude.
I know,
I'm just
yeah.
I'd rather spend 5 hours as Batman and just taking names, you know. But what was I saying? I do this a lot. This will happen a hell of a lot.
That should be the question for the next.
What am I saying?
What am I saying?
Yeah, dude. That could be a theme. Ooh,
no,
write it down.
no.
Yeah. This is not issue 3 stream. This isn't a drop.
No.
So yeah, that's Cape and
That's
Alter
who we are.
Egos.
Yeah.
And that's who we are. I feel like there's loads we probably could have said more.
Yeah.
Just about the inception, but yeah, we are also open to people getting in touch. You know, like I said, communication is life. Communication, you know, we live on the shoulders of everyone who's communicated with us from the past. All of our ancestors, you know, like I would be in a loincloth without other people before me making clothes, making wallets, making phones, making bracelets, making nail varnish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't make any of that shit, dude. And that's communication, and that's why I earnestly believe writing is the greatest technology we've ever come up with. As cool as YouTube is,
Yeah.
writing, you can't beat it. You can't beat, you know, black and white in a book, and you know, or not in a book, in a digital magazine. But you can't beat that. I don't think. I don't think you can beat that passing on of information, dude, and humanity and spirit.
And on that note, I think we should say goodbye.
Yeah, man. This has been 55 minutes and 52 seconds, and we thought it was gonna be about half an hour. So this is quite good. So.
Yeah. Well, knowing us, this is actually a pretty good time.
This is, dude. Yeah, we've had a few meetings which have lasted 3 hours before we got into our Cape stuff. So
Yeah,
sometimes
Cape
it can
meetings. I think when we launched, the one before we launched, it was like 7 hours.
Be, you know.
Half of it was just talking, and then the other half was.
But there's a lot of talking needed and stuff like this, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is if you want to get in touch,
Communication.
get in touch. If there's any questions you want to know, if you're thinking of starting your own magazine or just starting anything really,
Anything at all.
do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
Yeah, nice one, guys. Thanks for listening to Altered Egos or watching, whatever.
We'll
Yeah.
catch you next time.
Next time from somewhere. Yeah, nice one.
It won't let
And
me-
and
it won't
there's
let me
something in the
stop it. I
way.
know. That's it.
ah.
Blooper.